Troy, just your feelings, your reactions after settling for a top?
Yeah, in the end, I think it's a fair result. I mean, I think that we started off extremely well, obviously getting the goal early. And the first goal from Toronto came out of our mistake. They go in transition, and then I think we could have dealt with that moment a little bit better. One more time, the goal we score to go up and take the lead, I think, is probably what we needed a little bit more of. I think you're seeing us try to evolve with the ball in terms of just having more control, but that doesn't mean that we can't be dangerous in behind. And sometimes we weren't playing this in behind moment whenever it was on. And when we did on the second goal, I think obviously we saw a really good moment from our team. It was a great ball by Lucas to Jacob, and then Jacob to Christian. I think we were there to find the third goal, but it didn't come, and it's a tough penalty to give away. But at the same time, June had to make a couple of big saves whenever it's 2-1. So there's mistakes from us. There's mistakes from Toronto today. I think it's the first game of the season. You're seeing us still work some things out, both teams. But this is one that you feel like when you look back, you have to say it probably needed to be 3 points from us tonight.
Jason, go ahead.
Troy, you mentioned the ball that Lucas played and how that came from some of the changes you've implemented. It looked like a lot of pushing David Schneck high, and then you moved to a 3 and tried to maybe tempt them to come press. How do you think the group did in that overall, not just the single ball from Lucas, but just overall, like trying to bring them out of their shape?
I think they did exceptionally well. I really was happy with the group. I thought we had just a couple uncharacteristic turnovers, and that's going to happen when you have the ball a little bit more. Some that are just completely unforced in scenarios that we have to do better, and we will do better. But at the same time, I thought we controlled the run of play. We just have to, whenever the opportunity is there to be able to play forward and be dynamic, we have to recognize that a little bit sooner.
And then you mentioned Kim, second half, made a bunch of those saves, like you said. How do you evaluate his overall? It seemed like maybe the early stages, there were maybe some nerves or something.
Yeah.
As the game wore on and he improved?
Yeah, I think if there were some nerves in the beginning, that's to be expected. It's his first appearance with the club. He's a young goalkeeper, but I thought he settled into the game extremely well. And he made some very, very good saves. And, we're excited to continue to see him develop.
Next we'll go to Sarah, and then we'll go to Jose.
Thanks for taking the time to speak with us, Troy. Given that you've been very clear that the style is evolving and you have quite a few roster changes, I'm curious with what you're trying to implement. What do you feel went well tonight, and what might still need some polish or where are some gaps?
Yeah, a little bit of what I've already talked about. So I was happy with some of the structure with the ball. I thought that we had some good control over building from the first level into the second level, but then we probably just in that final third action, we didn't have enough of it tonight. And we certainly want to have the ball more. We want to be under control, but we want to generate opportunities. We don't want to have it just to have it. But again, it's a work in progress. And at the same time, I didn't think we lost any of our intensity against the ball. You saw us press really well last season, and we were one of the best teams in the league at doing so. And I thought we were, again, very good tonight in that regard while trying to evolve our with the ball style.
Jose?
Another feeling of going to questionable calls was one where Teke had a tackle and was a no call, and then the penalty for Toronto. From your vantage point, what did you see, and what were your thoughts on the initial calls?
Yeah, I mean, just probably speaking more to the penalty, I don't think anyone thought it was a penalty. I think if it's not called in the moment, then it probably doesn't go to VAR and get rewarded. But it was called on field, so then at that stage it has to be clear and obvious for VAR to overturn it. So it's a tough one to take, but that's where it is, and it's disappointing.
Hey, Coach, what do you think of Randall Enrique Leal's debut tonight?
Say that one more time, sir.
What do you think of Randall Enrique Leal's debut, the guy from Costa Rica?
Yeah. I thought he had some really good minutes tonight, and Randall's been a very exciting player throughout preseason for us, and I think as he continues to grow in his fitness and he's gonna impact the game more and more. So he's a very, very good player, and I'm very happy he's with our club.
Also, how excited this is not about this game tonight. How excited are you for the loan of Fidel Barajas from Chivas?
Yeah, I don't think, we haven't announced anything on that yet, so whenever that happens, I can comment.
Yeah, on the theme of errors, I noticed Toronto's the forward restraint line was somewhat subdued. You guys messing around with the ball, hoping early in the season you would make errors. Even you were not as forward pressing as usual. Is this a response to early in the season looking for errors and trying to capitalize? Yeah,
probably. I think it's probably, I can't speak for Toronto, but from our standpoint, we wanted to pick the right moment to go and press. And I think more times than not, we got that right. We didn't get broken down too many times. But it's probably a combination of being early in the year and feeling some things out, but also the tactics of the game.
Go Dennis, then Alex, and then we'll end with Donald.
So thank you for speaking with us. Who from your newcomers stood out to you tonight?
Yeah, I thought there's a number. I thought June, as I said, had some very good moments in the second half in particular, so that's credit to him as a young goalkeeper stepping into his first match with the club. I thought he showed quite well. Kai Rolls, I think you got to see some good moments from him tonight. Jose Kajimo was all over the field, And I thought Brandon Cervania also was really calm and composed on the night. So a number of guys. We have a number of newcomers, right? I talked about Randall Leal as well. All these guys are going to continue to grow in our identity and have more and more of an impact.
Coach, I wanted to follow up on something you mentioned about saying that when you look back at this game, you probably should have come out of it with 3 points.
Yes.
In terms of that messaging to the team about that, I know somebody talked about this past week, like winning instead of drawing in these certain situations. Like, what was your message to the team about that specifically tonight? Yeah,
you know what? I just brought it in at the end just to make sure that we go and spend some time with our fans, and I said that we'd have a little bit more of a conversation on Monday. I think that I don't mind saying exactly the way I see it, and I try to always be very transparent when I'm in here, when I'm with the players, and I don't have to say that to them. They know that tonight we left some points out there, and we have to address that. And if we don't, then we're not going to be in the position that we want to as the season progresses.
And real quick, just Boris getting that goal, how did you feel about him for having that moment?
Yeah, it's awesome for him just to be able to get that first goal for the club. I mean, he had some good moments for us last year, but now you got to see a little bit more of what he's capable of beyond the goal. What a great goal he scored, but he had a great night.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to ask about Boris, but let me ask you about Kajima, because you mentioned he was all over the place, and it felt like he's a guy that when you look back, you go, I didn't really hear his name much, but he did everything.
Yeah.
Is that the style that you want him to play, and how do you think that he helped his teammates in the midfield?
Yeah, I think you've said that really well. I mean, he is a guy, when you look at the physical data, he's always at the top. I mean, he covers so much ground. He does so much dirty work for the team, and really smart player, Tonight, where he'll be critical of himself, because that's how Jose is. He's always very honest with himself, is some of the giveaways that he had throughout the match. I mean, he's usually pretty tidy on the ball. And I think if he is a little bit cleaner, then he's going to create a few more moments in the attack for us. But it's a good first start for him with DC United, and we expect more of him throughout the rest of the season.